In today's episode of The Story of Animals, we venture into the eucalyptus forests of Australia to meet a creature often mistaken for a living teddy bear. With a fluffy face, a calm demeanor, and a peculiar fondness for tree trunks, the koala has become a symbol of cuteness across the globe. But behind those sleepy eyes lies a fascinating strategy for survival, one that involves hugging trees like their life depends on it. Let us explore the question, why koalas love hugging trees. Koalas are one of nature's most iconic animals, not because they leap or roar or hunt, but because they cling. Whether it's a branch, a trunk, or their mother, koalas are always holding on to something. This seemingly lazy behavior is actually a brilliant survival strategy. Koalas are marsupials, meaning their babies, called joeys, are born incredibly small and underdeveloped. After birth, the joey crawls into its mother's pouch, where it grows for several months before graduating to the role of permanent backpack. During this time, the joey clings to its mother's belly or back with a grip that would impress even the most seasoned rock climber. But clinging doesn't end in childhood. Even adult koalas spend most of their time wrapped around tree trunks. To the casual observer, it may look like a never-ending nap session, but this behavior is actually a carefully tuned response to the harsh realities of life in the Australian bush. Let's start with their diet. Koalas eat almost exclusively eucalyptus leaves, leaves that are toxic, low in nutrients, and incredibly difficult to digest. In fact, few other animals can even tolerate them. Koalas, however, have evolved a highly specialized digestive system to break down the toxins and squeeze out just enough energy to survive. The downside? Their diet leaves them with very little energy to spare. So, instead of running around or hunting, koalas live life in slow motion. They rest. A lot. Up to 20 hours a day. Every move is calculated and every calorie is conserved. Which brings us back to tree hugging. In 2014, researchers studying koalas during a brutal Australian heatwave noticed something curious. Using thermal imaging, they discovered that koalas weren't just hugging trees to sleep, they were hugging them to stay cool. The trunks of certain trees were significantly cooler than the surrounding air, acting like natural air conditioners. Koalas, by pressing their bodies against the bark, were able to lower their body temperatures and avoid heat stress without panting or sweating, which would waste precious moisture and energy. So when a koala clings to a tree, it's not cuddling, it's thermoregulating. Hugging the right tree is as important to its survival as finding food. But they don't hug just any tree. Koalas are surprisingly picky. They prefer certain eucalyptus species not just for their leaves, but for their cooling capacity and bark texture. Some trees retain more moisture, making them better at dissipating heat. Others are more comfortable for resting or provide better protection from predators. Speaking of predators, while adult koalas don't have many natural enemies, young or weakened koalas can fall victim to snakes, birds of prey, or even domestic dogs. Staying up in the trees and clinging tightly to the trunk keeps them safer, hidden, and harder to reach. The koala's hands are specially adapted for this lifestyle. Each hand has two opposable digits. Think of it as a double thumb setup, allowing for a precise, vice-like grip. Their rough paw pads help them cling to smooth bark without slipping. Even their feet are built for grabbing, with one toe acting like a natural comb for grooming. Now, here's the twist. While tree hugging is crucial to their survival, it's also something that's becoming harder to do. As deforestation, bushfires, and urban expansion continue across Australia, koalas are losing access to the trees they depend on. Less forest means fewer options for feeding, cooling, and resting. And with climate change making extreme heat more common, their simple, brilliant trick of hugging trees is no longer enough in many places. Ironically, the very thing that makes them look so peaceful, clinging to trees, is a desperate measure in a world that's becoming increasingly inhospitable. Koalas remind us that survival isn't always about speed or strength. Sometimes it's about stillness, strategy, and knowing exactly where and how to hold on. Now, it's time to see how much you've learned from today's episode. We've got 3 fun trivia questions coming up. Ready? Let's start. Question 1. Why do koalas hug trees during hot weather? The correct answer is C, to cool themselves down. Koalas press their bodies against cooler tree trunks to regulate body temperature and avoid heat stress, an energy-efficient survival tactic. Let's try another question. Question 2. What makes eucalyptus leaves a difficult diet for most animals? The correct answer is C. They are low in nutrients and toxic. Eucalyptus leaves are tough, toxic, and offer minimal energy. But koalas have evolved to handle them with a highly specialized digestive system. Let's move on to the last question for this episode. Question 3. What feature helps koalas cling so effectively to trees? The correct answer is D, 2 opposable digits on each hand. Koalas have a unique hand structure with 2 thumbs on each hand, giving them an excellent grip for tree climbing and hugging. Great job if you got all 3 questions right. And if you missed one, no worries. You've just learned something new about one of the most quietly clever animals on the planet. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution.